Hi. A couple of weeks ago, we asked you if you had any questions to ask us. We got a lot of answers and a lot of different questions. I'm really sorry it's taken a long time for me to do this video. Today is Thursday the 19th. It's 10:30. And I might as well do them now since tomorrow we'll release Untitled Fair. And we might as well get this over with. I can tell you that many questions kind of touch the same subject, so I might answer a lot of questions in one answer, and I don't have time to answer all of them, but someone has been very nice to kind of picked out a bunch of them. So yeah, let's get started. Yeah, I mean, between 2001 and 2008, we released 5 albums, which it's an insane pace of writing, recording, and touring. I'm not really sure how we were, I don't know how we managed to keep up the tempo the way we did. In retrospect, it's actually quite impressive. And at that point, we all had different lives, but we were living basically, pretty much everyone was living in the same city. We, at that age, but at least I didn't have much other things to do. That was my sole focus, just to write music and tour. That was everything. I also think that the deal we had with our record label was an aspect of it. Not that it stressed us in any way and they didn't push us, but it was kind of, after Eternal Kingdom, we had kind of fulfilled our part of the deal with Eric, and maybe subconsciously, or it might have felt like a checkpoint, and we were worn out, I think, and needed a break. And also, between Somewhere Along the Highway and Eternal Kingdom, I moved from the city, which kind of made the writing process much harder. And I just think that we needed some time, some space, and just kind of to recharge the batteries and all that. With that said, it was quite hard. When you stop the machine, it was very hard to get it started again. So started writing Vertical. It was hard to get back on the horse, but now when the machine is started again, it kind of it goes by itself. But it's also very hard to describe when you get into a creative flow. It just happens. And the last couple of years, at least for me in my writing, has been I've been very productive. Maybe I don't know if I lowered my standards or whatever, or maybe I feel more secure in my writing, and that's why I managed to get so much material out. I write all the time, and there's not everything end up as a recorded song, but I think also we found a good balance in the band. We feel much more secure with each other, and gradually kind of we've been feeling more secure in not only musically but also socially. I can't remember when we had a proper band fight the last 10 years, since we got back on the writing schedule in 2012 or 11. So yeah, that's probably Hope that answered your question. I would say from like 2000 and from the Beyond up until Mariner, we pretty much more or less worked in the same way. I mean, the first album, that was, I would say this album oh. I don't know if you see, but I have a flickering light here. Oh, anyway, from the first album, we were, we were offered to record a mini CD, which turns out to be an album, and we kind of recorded every song that we had. When we recorded those songs, they were not intended for an album or anything like that. We just recorded what we had. But from the Beyond until Mariner, we have worked out of concepts, or we have had a story arch, or a story that we wanted to tell. And very often we start off by just discussing what story do we want to tell. How do we tell that in terms of like writing, production, arrangement, artwork, like every aspect of making an album, videos, to create a consistent like package around like every album. With this one, like I use this really, I don't know, maybe bad analogy, but usually when we write an album, we start off with a picture that we want to do, and then we go in and work on each individual pieces, like in a jigsaw puzzle, in order to create this picture. But on a Dawn to Fear, that like writing session, which includes more than the album, I wanted to see what happened if we just kind of let go of the conceptual thing and see if our subconscious can create a concept by itself. So my writing, when I started writing songs, I wrote, like, I tried to write just on instinct, like, okay, what like if I just sit down with a guitar, don't think about anything, what will come out of it? And also when it came to the lyrics, what happens if I just sit down and just write what pops up in my head without any thought of concept or subject matter? And then if I write another sentence and another, and then try to adapt it to each song, and then afterwards, when we wrote those, instead of doing the pieces in the jigsaw puzzle, we started with the pieces, and then if we move back and see what picture do these individual pieces make together. So it was a very self-reflecting process, and it didn't take a long time and a lot of songs written until we understood what, like, all these subconscious signals, what they, the story that they wanted to tell. And out of that we created an idea of what the album is all about. And from that we could write more songs in the same theme, and create this whole conceptual thing, but it was much more from the starting point of our subconscious instead of our like conscious decisions. Yeah, this is a very personal album in terms of subject matters, and that's like I'm not really keen of discussing each individual lyric, but like I said earlier, it was a very self-reflecting process where I had to analyze myself of where were my mind when I wrote this, and what could this sequence of words and sentences say about where my mind were. And it, like every lyric that I finished had, like I know exactly what they are all about. And I write a lot like from like pictures that pop up in my head, and like the subject matters that at the starting point was just random. Like they're not random at all. It was just like I didn't understand them at first, but it took a while for me to analyze myself, and I realized pretty quick what they're all about. And without being too specific, I would say that in general it's about home and all the aspect of what home is. It can be on an emotional level, it can be geographically, it can be where you feel secure and safe, and what kind of what people you want to surround yourself with. Which brings us then to the title, Untitled Chapter, why I think that's a very important song. I get, like, that's a question that I get a lot now when I'm in the promotion thing and do a lot of interviews. Untitled Chapter, I know exactly where like that random sentence came from. It was when I wrote that lyric. I found myself standing at a certain point close to the river, the Umeå, the river that flows through the whole of county of Västerbotten. And in my imagination, I moved back, I turned back to the east, in the direction of the river's flow, and I saw the first sun rays of the dawn, and taking that into context of where I emotionally were at the time, that was just a picture, but it symbolizes things that you will in your lifetime will experience that might not be pleasant, it might not be things that you want to experience, but they're gonna happen. There's stuff like, loved one that will die. They will die, and that's things that you will have to experience, and it's worth reflecting on and be aware of, so that you'll be able to cherish the moments that you have now. But that can also be interpreted, there's other things like bigger pictures, where things that we're heading towards that are not pleasant. And yeah, that's how that whole thing came up, and I think it's a powerful sentence, and it can I think it's just worth thinking of what you have now, and cherish every moment of it. The first song that was finished, we played a version of Inland Rain. That was actually written quite a long time ago, and we played a version of it. I can't remember which tour, but we kind of tried it out, and then we gone back and rewritten it a bit and arranged it differently, so it would fit the kind of overarching theme and arrangement of this album. But talking about writing with this band is hard, because in some aspects it's very easy and we work very quick, and in some aspects it takes a while. Since we live in different cities now and have different lives, we need 6 months just to plan to be at the same time, to be at the same location at the same time. That means that when we meet, we need to have concrete ideas to work with. So the songwriters in the band, we need to have like pretty well-defined drafts. Oh, they're working outside. Anyway, I hope you can hear me. So we need to have well-defined drafts and at least some kind of structure to work on when we meet, so everybody has kind of listened to the whole thing. So we need what we're getting ourselves into. So if I take like myself as an example, I know two things. Okay, I know two things. I know one thing is that the song is not going to sound the way I thought it was going to sound, and two, it's always going to be better, because when everybody kind of take the song and everybody in the band have their take on it, like all the individual playing styles that each individual member has, which is very unique, and I'm very happy to be able to play with them. It will bring stuff to the songs that I would never be able to write. So Cult of Luna is a product of all individual members. That's very important to stress. Like if you take out any variable, any member, and put in another one, it would sound very different. That doesn't answer the question, because like the writing process, I mean, it might have taken like 2 years, but if you count times we actually met up, a bunch of weekends with pretty good, well-defined ideas, and then we were ready to go. So yeah, 2 years or 14 days, depending on how you count on it. Some songs it's written pretty fast. Some songs are written takes quite a while. There was one song that took me forever to find its way, because when I write, I need to find some kind of, I don't know, it's like if I find a groove or something, that then I know I have a song. Then I just need to figure out how to kind of work with the right dynamics in order to like make it work. With Nightwalkers, I know that I had a song, I just couldn't finish it. I tried a lot of ways, and I worked and worked and worked in order to be able to write this draft to present to the rest of the guys. That might have taken 2 years. 2 years. No, maybe not 2 years, but it took a while in order to finish the whole thing. It was actually usually I go down to Christian's studio and kind of, you know, try out stuff, and I think we recorded like 4 versions of it, and those versions are like the product of 10 versions that I do at home. Yeah, so that took a while. Nightwalkers was a very a tough and hard thing to do, to write, but when I finally finished it, or when I kind of found a way to close the bag, I knew that I have, like, that the work was not in vain. So yeah. I haven't thought about it, but yeah, I actually think, I mean, there could be some kind of connection. I know that even though Somewhere Along the Highway was more, yeah, like I said earlier, more conceptually written, I think that there's a lot of subject matters that kind of connects the two, and there's other aspect of the writing and definitely the recording process that are very similar to Somewhere Along the Highway. I think musically it's not that close. Maybe they are, maybe not. I don't know. I leave that up to you. But the process, I mean, the place I was in when I wrote the lyrics for Somewhere Along the Highway, or my lyrics that I wrote, might kind of intertwine with where my mind's been the last couple of months or years. But from a different, like I'm older, different aspects, different things to think about. But I think emotionally they connect very well, because Somewhere Along the Highway we recorded in a barn-like house outside of Umeå in a very short amount of time. We wrote that album in 3 months. We recorded it in a week. This album, like I said earlier, we wrote it. I would say we wrote it pretty fast together. Like it took a while to write the songs, but together we were very concentrated and worked pretty fast. And then we recorded the album from Eternal Kingdom up until Mariner. Since we live in different parts of Sweden, all those recordings we've been, as far as I can remember, we have met up for a few days to record the basics, and then we kind of scattered finished the recording in different studios, because we live in different cities and all that. This time we wanted it to be a collective experience and a collective recording. So we recorded it in Ocean Sounds in Norway, in a small island in Giske. You can Google Earth that location. It's just beautiful. It's the ocean. You have the huge mountains, the Norwegian mountains in the background. And we stayed there for 10, 11 days and recorded it. And it was, we ate, we slept, we hung out, we watched movies, got drunk. It was a perfect setting. And we could, any creative idea or any thoughts could be discussed there and then, instead of long email thread. We could have a discussion there and then. So it was more of a collective process, and I would say that that aspect is the thing that would connect these two albums, and I really hope you can hear it on the album. Yeah, because we value and put so much importance on the visual aspect and the artwork of our music. We put Eric through hell in order to get the artwork right. And it was a long process, and we got a lot of drafts, and we had discussions back and forth. And Eric, he's been a part of the band since the first demo until he quit the band after Vertical. We're still good friends, and he understands. He understands us as good as anyone in the band. But finally, when he came up with this kind of abstract conceptual thing, and said it was he was 100% on spot when it came to it's so hard to talk about, because it's abstract and on an emotional level, that it's hard to give a concrete answer, but it was just right. There was so much I saw in that picture that I thought resonated so well with the music. you can see, I think what you see in the artwork is up to you, but I see a dawn. I see just like pretty much like a step. Oh, that was an explosion. Anyway, you see a tree. You see like a tree trunk. Like there's so much in that abstract picture that was straight, like went straight to my heart, and we all in the band agreed that he was absolutely right. And yeah, and yes, they have made lithos of it, and I don't know when, but they will be on sale soon. Yes, we will in 2020, early 2020. I don't think I can say much about it. I know that we will play with some great artists, and I'm really looking forward to that. Not that often. I would say that mostly everything that we record, we release. What I can say is that we had kind of a creative explosion in this band, which there's a lot of ideas there, and there's a lot of great ideas, and sometimes some ideas need to step back in order to create an album, to create the right dynamics in an album, to find the right highs and lows, the peaks and valleys, and then some things might have to step back. That's all I can say about that for now. That was it. I'm sorry, there was a lot of questions that I didn't have time to answer. I babbled a lot. I hope that's enough for you. Yeah, tomorrow we'll finally get this record out. It's been a long wait. It's been ready since I think February, so almost half a year that we're just waiting for this day. It's a record that I'm very proud of, and we all are immensely excited of getting out there, and it means a lot to us, and I hope it can mean a lot to you.